Good boy. Finish yourself. Right here. Good boy. Good boy.
Hey guys, welcome back to Madison Bell, and today we're going to be talking about dog training methods when protection work. And we're going to be talking about some old school methods, and we're going to be talking about some current training methods. And just a disclaimer before we start, this video is not to talk down about any trainer, and specifically, we're just talking about methods. You may not agree with the methods, but trainers use the methods, and they're out there. So just because you don't see it, this is some of the methods trainers use. And one of the methods we're going to talk about is using the e-collar on a protection dog where you're doing bite work. And what is it used for, and is it more humane than to use crank and yank? The other method we're going to talk about is crank and yank. Crank and yank is basically having the dog on a choke leash collar and yanking the dog into position, making the dog stop aggression, making the dog start aggression. So that's crank and yank. It's just controlling the dog with a choke collar and yanking it really hard. The other method is using the e-collar, where there is no leash, where you're using shock, what a lot of people would say shock, or you're using stimulation to control the dog. So in this session, again, I personally don't know the trainer that's doing the crank and yank in this video. I've seen a couple of his videos, and his dogs are really obedient, well behaved. So I'm just showing you his method of what he's doing with the crank and yank. And this is a method that thousands of dog trainers do, even though they won't tell you or they don't show you. He's actually showing it in his video. So I'm not condoning, or I'm not saying it's a bad method. I'm not saying it's a good method. I'm just showing you the difference in crank and yank and using the e-collar. Using the e-collar, it's the same thing as crank and yank, believe it or not. The only difference is you're not getting that forceful thrush from the handler. You're getting the handler is stimulating the dog with the e-collar. But the different pattern in the dog, in one video you'll see me with Rio, my dog, that I'm training for protection work. He's not my dog personally, but I'm training him, and you'll see his transition with the e-collar. And then you'll see CT training his dog with the crank and yank, and you'll see the difference. And again, you may not agree with the methods, but these are methods being used. And for you, if you are seeking out dog trainers or protection dog trainers or whatnot, even obedience trainers, you should know what methods they use. You should ask them what methods they use. If you don't know, because you don't know what methods are out there, then here's a video to show you, so you can ask those questions before you're doing that with your dog, or someone's doing it with your dog, and you're like, I don't like e-collars, or I don't like crank and yank. You need to know the methods. So you just sit back, you'll watch. We'll do the first one with his dog, then we'll switch back to my dog on the e-collar, then we'll go to his dog back on the crank and yank, and then we'll go back to my dog on the e-collar. So we'll transition through the video. I'll narrate throughout, but this is what you're going to see when you see crank and yank.
Gave my man a break, gave my dog a break. What you see is what you get. I keep telling you guys that. Remember the exercise we used to do? Good boy, Q. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy, Q. Good boy. That's a good boy. Good. That's a good boy. Good, Q. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Good. 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 You all right? Good boy. Good boy. I can get out. Right here. Good boy. Right here. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Good boy. Good. Just easy. Good boy. Good boy. Cute. That's a good boy. Good. Give him a kick. Good boy. Give him a kick. Good boy. Good boy. Good. That's a good boy. Pull it back on him. Good boy. Ah, boy, pull him back up into your chair. Good boy. Lift your jacket. I got him. Hey, you better get your. Here you go. Right here. Cute. Over here. Over here. Over here.
Closer to the bad guy than you are, so that he can hit him and distract him without you being involved. Make sense? So like how your mother is, if the bad guy was right here, you want to have Rio between you and the bad guy. Okay? So you're going to stand where your mom is, right there, and Rio's going to stand right here, and I'm going to stand right here. You want them to move? Alright guys, so this is level 3, and what we're doing is impulse control training with Rio. This is like the final phases or stages of training we do with dogs once they're finishing up. This is highly important, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to have Rio do some exercises. We're going to have him send for a bite and then recall and not get the bite. We're going to have Rio react without being told the bite. And we're just going to do some judgment calls here. And this is important because we don't want a dog that only is going to defend the people that he's supposed to be defending once he gets a command. Be able to recognize a threat and deal with it. Also, if he decides that he wants to go after something that's not a threat, then the handler should be able to call him back and call him off a bite. So this is what you're seeing right here. As soon as I showed any sign of aggression towards him, what does a threat look like and what the threat does not look like? Could he stop me? Let's find out! Before he bit me, he was just laying there next to the child. He wasn't barking, he wasn't being aggressive. So this is what we talk about impulse control. The dog's ability to understand and recognize what a threat looks like and what a threat doesn't look like. This is extremely important. If someone's training your protection dog for family protection and they do not do this phase of training, then that's just not good work at all, because dogs need to understand this. And this is repetition, so this is not like a one-over thing. We have to do this over and over again, and we have to do this until he understands and he gets it in his system. So when he's forcefully yanking the dog into position. He's forcefully demanding the dog to activate on cue, or he is de-escalating the dog on cue, but he's using the yank of the chain and a leash at a really hard thrust to get the dog either stimulated to activate to a decoy, or he's using the crank and yank to settle the dog down. So that's what he's doing in this. So he's manually doing this. Before there were e-collars, this is how they train dogs. And I know that's hard to believe, but this is actually how, this is old school. This is how they actually did it. So he's using the crank and yank to pop the dog into place. He's using the crank and yank to de-escalate the dog. He's doing this method over and over again. I didn't have time to put in this whole video because I think his video is like 14 minutes long. And it actually has a lot of obedience in that video when the dog is not actively aggressing. So, but when the dog is aggressing, he's using that to stimulate the dog and he's using it to de-escalate the dog. So that's crank and yank. That's the old school before there were e-collars. A lot of trainers still use those methods. And like, again, this is not to say bad things about any trainer or good things. These are just methods that are used. In my video, you'll see, in this video, you're seeing Rio. And what Rio is doing is he's working off leash. Even though you don't see the leash, his handler actually has an e-collar. So he is being controlled by the e-collar versus a leash. So when she demands him to come back, he comes back. If he doesn't, then she sends him a signal. Same thing as far as him, aggressing and things like that. She can out him with the e-collar. So instead of her forcefully using the leash and cranking and yanking it, she's using the e-collar to stimulate the dog. Okay, so that is the difference you see. You may like one method, you may not like another method. But again, these are dog training methods. So whether you agree with them or not, these have been taught to dog trainers throughout the world. Dog trainers overseas use them. Dog trainers in the United States use both of these methods. So if you don't believe in, you cannot train a dog to be aggressive and not have control of the dog. I don't know how long CT was into training this dog as far as his bite work. It looks like it's the beginning stage. And when they started in the beginning, they're wow. They are like, they're all over the place. So he's using a lot of force to control the dog when he's getting the dog hyped up and going and everything. So, but once they start to settle, you start using less force. But again, a lot of people like sausages, but they don't like how they made. They don't like how they go out and they shoot the pig and they cut the pig up and they grind the pig and then they cut them up and then they package it. They like that part when they go to the store and buy it. So again, these are dog training methods that are used throughout. You're either going to end up using one or the other if you're doing a protection dog. You're not going to be able to give your dog treats and sweets and think they're going to be happy. You're either gonna veer to an e-collar or you're going to do a crank and yank. That's going to be your options. So you're going to have to figure that out once you start talking about doing protection work. And if you're like, hey, I don't like e-collars and I don't like choke collars and I don't like, don't even get into protection, because this is how we have to balance the dogs. The dogs have to be balanced. You may not like the methods, but the method will save you in the long run when your dog decides to go out and bite the wrong person and you cannot get them under control. So again, these videos are not to judge anybody. These videos are just training information so that you can know of two methods you're going to use when you're trying to control a dog and get them under control. And like I said, you got two methods. So you can veer over to using electric e-collars, or you can do over to manually yanking the dog and cranking them up and then yanking them back down. So those are your methods. Again, and I stress this enough, please do not say anything negative, because it's training methods and there's nothing that you can go against it. You may not like it, but it exists, and there's nothing illegal about it. This is how they train protection dogs, whether they're on the police force, whether they're in a sport yard, whether they're just personal protection dogs. You're gonna funnel through these tunnels when you're training a personal protection dog. So if you don't like these methods, don't get a personal protection dog and don't get one trained. So you're gonna have to funnel through these tunnels when you start talking about getting a dog as a personal protection dog. They're gonna end up landing in one of these two heads, e-collar or crank and yank. So that was that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If y'all have any information about training and getting your dog trained as a personal protection dog, you're welcome to reach out to me at any time. We'll try to put out some more informational videos in the future. The weather's been awful lately, so we haven't been able to do as much. We've been training some puppies as well. So again, this is Madison Bell. I'm Rodriguez. You guys have a good one, and thank you for watching.